Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Devecioglu, your host. I'm welcoming you, episode 130. We are streaming live from New York City today, and today's number is 550. That is the US marketing industry size, exceeding $550 billion in 2024. Speaking of marketing, we have a great guest today, a marketing guru, a leader from the profession. I'm going to invite our guest to our virtual stage, and we can get the conversation started. Hello, Brent. How are you?
Hi, Kevin. How you doing? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us in your busy schedule. I hope you are well and you had a great weekend.
Yep, I'm glad to be back in Texas. I spent the weekend in Chicago.
Great. Yeah, it must be warmer in Dallas, hopefully.
Oh, yeah. So much warmer in Dallas.
Well, in last 2 weeks, we streamed from Houston, Texas, the energy capital of the nation, which the weather was really spring-like, I must say. Mm-hmm. Now we are back in New York City. Now we are just in the typical New York City winter. It's pretty cold and was snowing. So I think it's good for the holiday season. So we can be in the spring pretty easily.
There's nothing like Christmas in New York City. Speaking as a former New York City native.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Well, I'm glad you are with us today, and you have a lot to cover in terms of your professional insights and your wisdom, especially today. We love to learn from you about your marketing insights and the best marketing practice possible. Let's get started. As a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our audience and to our listeners?
Okay, great. So my name is Brent Gairy. I'm founder, fractional CMO at Gairy Consulting. And Gairy Consulting basically is a strategic marketing agency where we build and we run marketing departments for nonprofit leaders and mid-sized businesses. And what that really means is that we typically work with founders who have scaled their businesses into that multi-six-figure, low seven-figure range, primarily through referrals, word of mouth, do-it-yourself marketing. And they are at a stage, in their organization's growth trajectory where that's no longer working, right? And it's usually because there's a misalignment in terms of how they're presenting their organization versus the type of and caliber of campaigns and the messaging that is being forecasted. So with Gairy Consulting, we don't just provide strategic marketing advice, we also do the implementation. So if you figure out what will work for your business, then actually have an execution plan where have a team of agency professionals who can then become basically that in-house component that your organization may rely on.
So the type of businesses that you are working with or industries, would you say they are small and mid-sized companies? Would you say?
I would say in a small business, kind of, it's like one of those terms that means different things to different people.
It's true.
So we do have, some clients that are maybe what we consider solopreneurs, but they're in an advanced state of growth where maybe they've had a virtual assistant do some marketing tasks for them for consistency, but they're at a point where they need someone that can help provide strategy, really have the in-depth understanding. But I would say a good example size-wise is maybe in that 10 to 25 employee state where there really isn't a marketing function. It's something that maybe the founder does, or it's a secondary task for an employee, but there isn't, the traditional, the marketing department, there's a marketing director, there's a CMO.
Okay, yes, makes sense. And in terms of industries, you will say vertical free?
Nonprofits is a big one. I would also say companies that are maybe startups, right, who have received funding. Worked with a wide variety, but I would say the two big ones are going to be like the nonprofits and more on the software consulting, professional business services side of things.
Yes, I also love working with nonprofits. I find extra pleasure when I work with non-profits because most of them, actually all of them, they have a cause
Right.
and they address that cause for every single action that they take. So it's pretty inspiring whenever I.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would say the term I like to use is mission-driven organizations, because within the nonprofit space, you have some that may be religious, some may be secular. You have others that might be schools, but they're all, I think, motivated by achieving a greater good, and there's usually a well-defined mission that got them started in the first place.
Can you tell us about your career journey? How did you get started? How your career has unfolded over the years?
Okay. Well, I mean, in a nutshell, I'm the product of the advertising industry. In terms of out of uh, out of college, I was actually in music, in the music industry, doing creative work, websites. You could think of banner advertising, and I found myself getting into the advertising agency in as a project manager, because I had a skill of being able to talk to creatives, developers, the client, and I was the one that was just keeping things, on time, on budget. I've worked my way up to, many different agencies, and as those creative agencies started to adapt in terms of competition from, let's say, the Deloitte, right, or the Accenture, becoming more interactive in scope, these creative agencies had to become more consultancies. So I got into moving up ladder rather than just managing projects, starting to understand, well, what are the business goals that an account may have, but still working with, a large team of, developers, creators, and whatnot. And after some, one of the things about advertising is that it's facing a huge reckoning from, let's say, the tech industry, where a lot of the creativity and a lot of workflows, are being squeezed by automation. So, and I don't think a lot of these bigger firms. So when I say advertising, I'm thinking like Omnicom, WPP, Publicis, like these major firms that have, tens of thousands of employees, but they're not nimble, right? And that's really the big challenge. They haven't quite figured out what does this new world look like, because they've always been the gatekeeper of, the consumer and the consumer purchasing in the model. So that got me really into consulting, of Gary Consulting, because I started to see, as I got a little bit older, people that I looked up to were leaving, and I'm like, well, why are they leaving? And I just realized there's only so much you can do in a lot of these places in terms of being able to adapt and really, as much as they may talk about being trend setters, they're actually trend followers. So, and I think what was telling for me before I left my last agency was we were selling AI solutions, but we weren't allowed to use AI in the company. And I'm like, well, how are we supposed to be guiding clients if we're not allowed to use it? And we weren't allowed to use it because they were worried about, the tools and how it will be misused by employees. And I realized, you know what, this is not going to end well. And so I started Gary Consulting and really try to figure out what are the best ways of using emerging technologies, but for a smaller uh, industry audience, in terms of like those mid-sized businesses who are maybe 10 years behind the norm in terms of like applying technologies. And like you may know, CRMs is the big thing that a lot of companies could
Yes,
benefit.
our expertise.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, so when you look at your day-to-day experience, work experience, you work with companies in different sizes. I must say, from different industries, nonprofits and others.
Mhm.
What are the exciting and challenging parts of your work on daily basis?
I say it's going to be change management, right? Because a lot of times I'm not dealing so much with the technology issues. It's understanding the transformation that has to happen with certain members in the team to be able to accept change. So if you're working with a founder and they're used to doing being hands-on, right? I have to get them to understand that that model doesn't work anymore when you have a marketing department. And one of the lessons I think I've had to teach clients is not everything marketing needs to be approved by you as a CEO anymore, right? we're not asking for necessarily your hands-on input, but I will show it to them and say, is this on brand, right? As opposed to, do you like this, creative campaign? Because at the end of the day, I'm getting them to understand a lot of the work that we're doing for them is aimed at a specific persona or ideal client profile. It's not aimed at what you like color wise or font wise. Now, if you happen to like it, awesome. But the important thing is, as the brand steward, does the work match the brand? And once you can get that trust, then being able to do marketing it becomes a lot easier.
I'd like to get your take about the state of marketing industry. We mentioned briefly about technology and other developments, but if you can tell us a little bit more of your insights. How do you see the state of marketing industry in general, and what are the challenges and opportunities of the industry in
Okay.
general from your professional point of view?
So yeah, one of the biggest challenges I see is a conflation of marketing and sales. And you have a lot of marketing companies that are really pushing, let's say, direct response sales solutions at companies that aren't ready for it. And when I say, I do marketing, I'm looking at it more from the branding, positioning, building the foundation. And the analogy I would use would be, are you looking for Mr. Right or Mr. Right now? And there are a lot of business owners who are investing in Mr. Right now in terms of like your budgets and expectations, but you're trying to get leads, right? You're trying to fill the pipeline. But if you don't have the right marketing foundation in terms of, do you understand who your market is? Is your messaging clear? Is there consistency across different channels, right? If that isn't set up properly, you won't be able to utilize the leads that are coming in from the sales side of the business. So that's one of the biggest things I'm seeing, is a lot of companies are pitching AI solutions that are really sales driven as opposed to being marketing, oriented. And you need both. So not trying to say you don't need sales, but it's two sides of a coin. But if all of the focus is on one side, on sales and not on marketing, you're not going to be able to convert like those leads coming from sales.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And when we think about the technology, whether that these are the software systems that we utilize in addition to AI, the fundamentals of marketing, that doesn't change. So
Right.
we still got to think about just to your point, just to support your point, we still got to think about the positioning of it, how we're going to differentiate ourselves, our offering, our offer. So all these fundamentals, they still stay. And as marketing professionals or practicing marketing,
Yeah. And
they,
so go ahead.
they need to be addressed. Yeah, please go ahead.
Exactly. Right. I see a lot of focus on automation, right? And like creating funnels and, having lead gen systems. But what about trust? If your organization doesn't generate awareness and trust, you can't automate trust no matter what you do with any of these tools. You still have to, have that foundation within your audience, your community. And then once you have that, you can start doing, whether or different types of campaigns, automations, because now you have that foundation of people who are now willing to give you the benefit of the doubt and do a conversion.
Well, speaking of automation and AI, let's talk about AI a little bit.
Okay.
Um, from your point of view, how do you see the impact of AI on business?
You know, I would say it's it's definitely changed a lot of workflows from the bottom up in terms of what let's say the individual worker, the tools that they're using. But what I am, at least what I'm working on with my clients, is developing company-wide systems of using AI. So I tell people AI is not, don't try and treat it as a replacement for, a creative team or marketing team. Rather use it to do a lot of heavy lifting, the grunt work that people didn't want to do before, right? Uh, and because with AI, since everyone has access to the same tools, you're going to get a lot of the same types of outputs where the work just looks the same. Brands are becoming more and more indistinguishable from each other. And that's because, we're using the same tools, the same approaches, the same prompts. And what we try to do from on the marketing side is establish the values, right? But now use AI to help build workflows where, let's say, if you're doing maybe a client proposal, maybe it took you a few hours to do the proposal, but if we have, let's say, ChatGPT projects that already has the brand voice, certain key information about that particular client, now any member of the team could start to, let's say, work on that proposal, and you're going to get a level of consistency because you have a model that works across departments, right? So it's really, I'm looking at it as an efficiency time saver, but not trying to use it to, let's say, let's do a commercial using AI, right? Because it doesn't have that spark, that creativity. It's getting better, and one thing I'm saying we can use it for is, let's say, B-roll footage, right, where you kind of inserting it in the right place as opposed to replacing the entire creative and marketing workflows.
Well, it's a generic question, but I love to pick your brain and love to learn from you. So, the best marketing practices nowadays, from your point of view, what are the best marketing practices for the highest ROI?
For highest ROI, I may sound a bit old fashioned, email marketing. And the reason why I say that is, social media, gets, it's a sexy platform, going viral and whatnot. But from a, let's say, from a donation standpoint, right? If I'm a
Yes, let's
nonprofit,
talk about nonprofits to
yeah.
be more precise. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great point. Please go ahead.
So for example, with nonprofits, right? Um, Email is the primary mechanism that a nonprofit has to have that one-on-one relationship, right? They may, your potential donor may be aware of you from social media, but they don't have to trust us yet. But when you have a good, well executed campaign, where you're not just sending an email whenever you need money, but you actively are letting people know about that mission, right? You're telling stories about, let's say, the impact your nonprofit is having, and you can build up and you can layer those narratives together into a campaign, a proper donation campaign. Yeah, the ROI is phenomenal, right? But it's so it's a short answer. I would say email marketing, but I've also seen other people who can use social media. I have another client; they're in the music industry, right? Their audience is social media, that ideal target demographic, right? Teens and people in your 20s. They can use social media, but I tell most clients, you're not them, right? You have to build that longer term relationship. And email, so to kind of get back to that point, has the advantage is that when someone is reading that message in their inbox, they're reading that message. They're not scrolling the feed, right? They're not being bombarded with other things. Like it's, you don't have to worry about video, right? You can just have a well crafted letter, almost digital letter. Emails is awesome for that.
Um, just curious, what do you think about networking events?
Networking events, I I personally have gotten comfortable going to networking events because what I have learned is that I'm not going to, when I talk to someone at an event, I'm not looking at them as a potential customer. I'm looking at them as somebody I can get to know their story is, where I see there's a connection. But what I found is it's better to use networking events to work through their networks as opposed to putting somebody in an uncomfortable scenario where either if we might be a good fit, my brain's just thinking, how can I close them right now? Right? It's that sales mentality versus what collaboration. Maybe I might not be a good fit, but I may know people from. Let me know your story so that I may know somebody in my network that could eventually be of service to you. Though. So I love networking events. I actually go to between 2 and 4 events a week because I found that most of my business is coming from the trust I've built going to networking events here in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. And it's amazing where I can go to certain events and they'll go, oh yeah, I heard about you from such and such. And oh, well, I've never been here before, but I'm glad that, people that I may have run into have already put what I do out there.
Absolutely, and that's how we met too. If we think about it, so that was a great event that we met in person, and then we start building a relationship, and then we organize these podcast episodes to share the informative content together. And actually, one thing also about about networking events, which I also love going, no matter where I am in the US or internationally, is it's actually time consuming sometimes, right? So you need to invest your time and be there in person. So one of the things that actually we want to do in the American Business Podcast is that we love to share informative educational content, and at the same time, we like to also help our audience and business actually meet and connect. So for that, we actually we are organizing monthly online networking events called the Connectional America Business Alliance. And the next one is actually on Friday. So I'll just put it on the screen to share with our audience. And the idea is that meet with other business professionals online. And at the same time, everyone is also on the American Business Podcast. So it's podcasting plus networking together.
All right. There you go.
Yes, podcasting and networking together. And to our audience and listeners, anyone who likes to join us for Friday, this is the QR code that you can scan and sign up for the online networking event. It's on every month, and this week it's gonna be on Friday. And if we learn one thing during COVID is we learn how to navigate things around virtual, online. It had to be in person. In many cases now, we are more used to doing things online. If there is one good thing about COVID time that we all experienced and suffered in some form, that is the only thing that we learned. Operating online and communicating virtually.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Well, so we talk about the best marketing practices in general, and I like to also get your take about leadership. How do you define leadership, and what are the best or great qualities of a leader? You would say?
Well, I mean, I can tell you what I think are the best qualities of a leader. Is someone that's oriented. Leaders can extract the best out of their team, right? It's not necessarily like a top-down effect, right? The best leaders are the ones who are able to work with, any member of their team, whether it's the intern, all the way to the executive suite. But they're also very clear that they have what the vision is, because they're the ones that's really in charge of setting the tone and direction that the company needs to follow. So they have to be great communicators. Where I think a lot of leaders, are lacking is that they're doing too much at any given moment, so they're distracted, and as a result, their teams aren't necessarily able to understand what's expected of them, and not being given that support. So the ones who are able to understand that as the organizations are growing, that they have to adapt to be able to provide the best use of their time for the organization, right, and understand their role is changing, make the best leaders.
Well, let's take a quick break, and we'll continue to get more insights from you and from your professional wisdom. If that's okay. Let's take a couple more minutes break, and then we'll be right back. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Support for the show comes from Yelp. I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp business. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from iStack. iStack is offering you the latest visuals for your marketing projects, advertising projects, and other projects that need communicative latest visuals. Right now, iStack is offering you 20% discount if you start shopping today. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you can start your shopping experience with iStack immediately. Whether you are looking for visuals designed by professionals or you are looking for visuals designed by AI, iStack is offering you all these options starting today. Please scan the QR code and start shopping visuals on iStack website. Remember, there is 20% discount when you start shopping today. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Opus Virtual Offices. Opus is offering you more than 600 different locations in the US. It is $99 a month. This includes prestigious business address, professional live call answering, personalized call transferring, business phone number, local phone number, professional mail services, voicemail converted to email. I have the QR code on the screen. You can sign up for Opus today. Opus is offering you hundreds of locations in the US that you can pick any of them that you like. And you can start having your virtual office today. Please scan the QR code and start using Opus Virtual Offices today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Just Answer. Real help from real experts 24/7. Experts such as lawyers, doctors, veterinarians, computer technicians, home improvement experts, mechanics, personal tax experts, computer technicians, and many other experts are available for you 24/7 on Just Answer. You'll get your answers anytime, during the day, during the night, 24/7, and you'll get your answers from reliable sources. You can scan the QR code on the screen and you can sign up for Just Answer. The answers you need at a price that is right. Scan the QR code and sign up for Just Answer today. Thank you for your support.
All right, we are back in the American Business Podcast. Well, let's continue our conversation.
Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. So let's talk about your mentors and role models. Have you had any role models, any mentors that you can share with us?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna go way back to when I was in college. This was going to be the late '90s, early 2000s, and I had a mentor. His name is Justin Esposani. He's currently head of UX at Comcast, and he was the one that really got me to understand the interaction between technology and creativity. He's one of those rare people that was an excellent coder, but he was also an amazing artist. And being able to see him do both, and it wasn't just one or the other, helped me to really understand, how that works inside of, creativity. So that it helped me to, I think, become good at design from an agency standpoint, but also the technical parts from a consulting standpoint. Most recently, one of my mentors, her name is Tara Dardell. She runs the Tower group, and she is really at the forefront of public relations, working with nonprofits, working with government agencies, and being able to handle like those high pressure um, contracts, but also being able to like sell into government, but then also just being able to get back into the community though. So I think she's kind of helped me to see as a business owner, what's possible, because she's a few years older than me, but I mean what she's able to accomplish with her team has been like really inspirational though. So I want to give the two of them a shout out.
If there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be?
Don't stay too long at a place that that you're not meant to be at. And if you think about the golden handcuffs, right, where maybe you at that firm that you've always wanted to work at, you had dreams of doing it, you do it, and then you reach a certain point where you're like, you know what, like you're not really. There's nothing wrong with where you're at, but you just don't have that spark, that drive. If you have that feeling, it's usually, at least for me, that's the indicator that you have to go because you need to leave to grow. And when you convince yourself to stay at, someplace for too long because it's a safe place, life has a way of making you not stay in that organization. So I would just say, be able to don't be afraid to grow because when you're kind of like either stagnant or you're just kind of coasting in life. And I think for most of us, we need those constant challenges that might be scary, but listen to that scary situation and go towards it.
Well, you're a fractional CMO, and also you are also a business owner. Sometimes in business, things they don't go the way that you like them to be, and
Mhm.
sometimes there are challenges and hardship and so on. How to stay motivated and inspired in times of challenges?
Well, so I mean, I read a book called "The Obstacle Is the Way," maybe like once a year. It's a well-known book. Talks about stoicism and how that you have to be able to like visualize the highs and the lows in any scenario, but realize that it's a temporary situation, right? That and as a business owner, I've learned that one day your mood can be really down, and then the next day could be sky high because maybe you got a win or a contract came through, or you're not waiting for, let's say, something to happen, right? So I've kind of learned that you have to step outside of those extremes. Like you're gonna be affected by it though, but that doesn't define who you are as a business owner on a day-to-day basis. It's just different. So for me, it's really been able to rely on family, um, have a support system, also having mentors who can tell you, what, I remember when I was at that level, right? And these are some of the challenges that I faced though, and understanding that, what, it's not a me situation a lot of times. This is just like normal. It makes it easier to keep remembering, well, why am I doing this in the first place? Like if I know my whys, and my whys help me deal with the hows.
Well, is there a book, a show, a movie that helped you shape your career?
Yeah, I would recommend The Obstacle Is the Way. That was not a long book. It's not a real business book. It's just a book about um, changing your mindset of how we deal with adversity and understanding that an obstacle isn't the end of the journey. It's a way of teaching you how to learn how to become more flexible, and more to have better perseverance. And in the process of getting around an obstacle, I've learned that actually is the path I need to take. I think a lot of times we're trying to avoid situations, but we have to work through some of those situations in order to grow. So I don't look at it. So that's really what that book has helped me do. I think it's by Ryan Holiday. But yeah, highly recommend that one.
What are your biggest interests outside of work?
I would say before it would have been photography. Right, I've always, I have right behind me. I have a number of cameras. I'm the person that would go at family events, and I'm always taking pictures and whatnot. But as my kids are getting older, now they're 7 and 9. I've learned to enjoy taking trips with my family, right? To go places and create those memories as opposed to like just documenting them. So now it's really about I'm thinking, we're thinking about spring break trips and summer vacation and with my wife and whatnot. So it's really about creating good family memories now.
If you had a chance to go back history, personally or historically, to what time period would you like to go back and why?
So you know what? I'm going to say like the 1980s, right? I that was my childhood, and I think what I would love to do is to be able to like relive some of those key moments, but also deal with some of my grandparents who were already kind of old at that time to really, ask them things about life and whatnot, as opposed to going back 500 years or 1,000 years. I'm like, I don't know anything about surviving in that time. I feel like in the 1980s, I have a little bit of knowledge of how to navigate situations and whatnot, though. And I love the music too, so that's the other thing.
What is the best advice and worst advice that you ever received about your career?
Well, I think the best advice was j- just if you have a voice that's like nagging you to do something, to learn to listen to it, right? Because it's not going to go away, and if you I feel like if you drown that voice, you kind of lose a part of what could make you be the better version of yourself. I think the worst advice was start a business based on your passion, right? Because a lot of times, a lot of people's passions, there is no market demand for that passion, and I think you have to be able. Business is ruthless. It doesn't necessarily care about your passion, right? If you're going to do that, you have to be able to figure out how am I going to make it viable if this is what I'm going to be living off of. And I think a lot of people are in love with the idea of owning a business as opposed to running a business, like so I am lucky in that where I get to do something that I'm passionate about, but at the same time I had to learn what is the product market fit for the things that working with business owners, being creative, being technical, and finding a way to make people understand that. So yeah, hopefully that answers that.
Is there any question that you expected me to ask you, but I didn't ask you?
I'll be honest, like you asked me some really like well thought out questions. I'm actually glad that you didn't ask me anything I didn't think about those. So I'm because I didn't want to be able to like, oh man, I'm stumped. But no, it's been a great opportunity, and you're pro at this though. So I feel like you got a nice
I'm still learning.
of a question.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, do you have any career advice for the next generation business professionals?
Wow, that's actually a really good question, because it's something I think about as a father with kids that are becoming aware of technology and AI and whatnot. I think the advice that I'm going to give to them is to have a really strong technical foundation, but being able to be adaptable, because things are moving so fast, so much faster, that you can't afford to what's the word you can't afford to like just have the benefit of like, what, technology is going to stay stagnant for a while. But I think the biggest advice, actually, now I think about this, the biggest advice I would say for someone young is to develop your professional networking relationship, right? Because it's not necessarily about the tools or your skill set. It's really about the people that you surround yourself with. And if you, as someone in their maybe even in high school, can go to a networking event and learn how that operates and learn the benefits of that, you will be so far ahead, because it took me years of trial and error Right. But I think that's probably the biggest thing is developing a professional network and not something that's transactional, but people that you can really find your tribe with. That's probably going to pay the biggest dividends.
That's a great advice. I truly appreciate it. Well, do you have any question that you would like to ask me in this episode?
Yeah, I actually wanted to find out what has been working for you in terms of, as you're growing, the American Business Podcast. I know you have kind of a ancillary business with that though. I really love to know like how the podcast, I guess contributes to, your business objectives.
Well, we actually position the American Business Podcast as a business itself. So for us in our organization, that's our media arm. So the American Business Podcast is fundamentally an independent business podcast to share informative education content with business professionals.
Mhm.
So we like to support business professionals in the US and no matter where they are in the world. Uh, and also we like to share the stories of American businesses, American enterprise. It is because it's all about the grit. You put together, you create a company, and there is always that hard work in it. And there is always a story that we love to hear. So that's a platform that we have to have and listen to those stories and lessons and learn from them and share these insights. That's actually what we are trying to do. That's why our why is this, just uplifting American businesses, American enterprise, learn from them and share the insights with other business professionals. So this mission actually really drives us. That's how we started. And this idea came about 2 years ago. So we did research. I've been watching different podcasts. I've been talking to other podcasters. And eventually we found our angle and we found our why, our mission. So that drives us. So learning, for example, from you, your professional background, your business, how did you get started, best advice, good, worst advice, all these insights are actually learning opportunity for us. So this is a platform to, share these insights and learning from you and other business professionals. And because we are getting really positive feedback from our audience and viewers, that's how we are growing. And we keep evolving. There is always room for improvement. I truly believe in continuous improvement.
Mhm.
So we always keep an open mind. We listen to our audience, other business professionals, and the more business professionals that we have on the American Business Podcast, the more informative content that we are sharing. So it just keeps us going and keep us motivated.
Okay.
I have to say. Yes, absolutely. That's a great question. Thank you for asking this
Oh
question.
no, yeah, no, I think when we first met in person, and you told me that you were a YouTuber, and I had looked you up and I saw that, you had I think you had your YouTube award. I was like, wow, you know what, like that, for something that was maybe like 2 years old, I was like, you know what, you're having a real impact and a real, I think, connection within the business community though. So, I try to use some of the things that you're doing with you and some of my clients, explain to them that when you're doing video, right, you don't have to necessarily be um, like creating funny content or like do things that are true to the brand, right? And you can do that in multiple ways. But I think the key
Yes.
thing is consistency, and that is something I'm seeing. Like you're on my feed,
Mhm.
just have an episode or other content going out there though. And like I said, I
Mhm.
tell my clients this is the type of content that maybe you could look at, adapt it, right? But see there's some good best practices here.
Yes, appreciate it. And to your point, there are many different ways to share content, right? So there may be entertaining, there may be dance videos or videos about food or other videos. I mean, there's always a content and there's always an audience for it.
Mhm.
So I mean, to your point, just to support your point, they can always find their own angle. What they are good at, what they like to share, what they love, and then they can just reflect it on their in the podcast. And I always welcome these, conversations. Anyone that you like me to, share some insights, I can always meet and share the insights with them. And in addition to the YouTube Silver Award, which really legitimize our business podcast and extra motivates us. Also, last week we managed to be listed in IMDb.
Oh, nice.
Database, yes. So that is also something that we actually announced in the last episode, the previous episode in 112. And this is our QR code just to share with our audience and listeners. So when you scan this QR code, you'll see the American Business Podcast listed in IMDb database next to other podcasts and other movies and shows and other productions. So this is also additional visibility for us, of course, and gives us also additional legitimacy as a business podcast. So as a business podcast, we believe we have a unique position. I mean, we are also watching other business podcasts, what they do, and we have our own lane and what we do in terms of sharing content, and to your point, consistency is one of our differentiation points. Plus, we have a networking event. We are just not talking, we are also taking action, right? So we are also inviting our audience and viewers to meet and connect with other business professionals. And the business networking event that we put together, which will take place on Friday, is something of a differentiation for us. That makes us different, that makes us unique. Also, we also take action in addition to talking about best practices, professional insights, and they can meet and join. So I'll also put the QR code on the screen. If our viewers and listeners would like to join us on Friday for the online business networking event, you are more than welcome. We are almost sold out, so today is a great day to sign up. And Friday we'll be doing networking plus podcasting, so meeting with other business professionals and podcasting at the same time.
Okay, wow, you'll be there.
Yes, definitely. I'll send you the invite. We'll be happy to have you with us on Friday. We are starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern till 11 a.m. So it's going to be great, and we're going to have attendees with us, and it'll be fun. It'll be networking, and we talk here and we take action there.
There you go. Love it.
Networking event. Well, for those who like to be in touch with you, continue this conversation, what is the best way that they can learn about your company and get in touch with you?
I mean, if you look up Gairy Consulting on LinkedIn, that is my number one social media platform. Also, you can visit my website, gairy.co. That's GAIRY.co. There you'll have information about the services that the team is doing and whatnot. And I've learned to kind of like keep it a little bit narrow, like in one primary social media channel, web presence, and whatnot. But yeah, that's the best way you can reach out to me, and from there we can set up a one-on-one.
Brent, thank you so much for being with us in your busy schedule. Thank you for sharing your professional insights with us and your professional wisdom.
Kevin, thank you. It's been a pleasure. This has been an amazing experience.
Pleasure is all mine. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday during the online business networking event. I'll send it in right after the episode, so you can have it on your calendar.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great week and see you on Friday.
You too. Take care.
Thank you very much. Well, to our audience and to our listeners, thank you very much for listening and watching. We'll be right back after the break.
Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Gemini Trust. Gemini makes crypto simple. Find, trade, and buy over 70 different coins, including Bitcoin and Solana, on the best cryptocurrency platform. Gemini Trust. Start trading crypto here. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and start signing up today. Because they have a great customer service, you can reach out to them and get assistance 24/7. Scan the QR code and start trading crypto on Gemini. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Brother. From large companies to small offices, Brother has powerful printers and all-in-ones for your growing business. Scan the QR code and find the best printers for your needs. When you scan the QR code, you can see the entire collection, business office equipment collection of Brother USA, and pick the one that you like. You'll find printers, labels, toners, all-in-ones, and other office equipment available on Brother website when you scan the QR code. Scan the QR code and start shopping for Brother office equipment today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is bringing you foreign languages. Learn from the experts, choose your plan to get started, sign up today. New Year is coming, and if your New Year resolution is learning a foreign language, Rosetta Stone is the choice for you. Rosetta Stone is offering you a long list of foreign languages: French, Italian, German, Chinese, Greek, Turkish, Polish, Portuguese, Vietnamese, and many more languages are available for you to get started today. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up for Rosetta Stone and enjoy the learning experience of foreign language. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Norton, advanced tech for advanced threats. Sign up today. Norton offers you different packages to completely save and secure your data and your devices. Each Norton package comes with antivirus, malware, ransomware, and hacking protection capabilities. In addition, there is VPN, private internet connection, dark web monitoring, and parental control capabilities in each package. There is a promotion going on right now. I have the QR code on the screen. You can get up to 60% discount if you sign up right now for one of the packages. There are packages of Deluxe, Standard, Plus, and Select. Depends on the number of devices that you like to connect, as well as the features that you like to utilize when you are using Norton. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the different packages and options available for you. Scan the QR code, go to the page that you like to sign up, pick the package that you like to use, and sign up today. True story. I am also using Norton on a daily basis, and I know all of my devices are secure every single day, thanks to Norton. Scan the QR code on the screen and start using Norton today and save your devices and your data in a safe and secure manner with the help of Norton. Thank you very much and enjoy the experience.
Thank you for watching and listening to the American Business Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest in the American Business Podcast, please send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We also welcome advertisers as well as companies to sponsor the American Business Podcast. You can send us an email for sponsorship and advertising opportunities, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We also love to hear from you. Please send us an email how we are doing. If you'd like to see a particular guest, or if you'd like us to cover a particular subject, you can also send us an email. We appreciate your feedback. americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. As you know, we are a YouTube Silver Award winning business podcast. Now we are listed on IMDb database. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Scan the QR code on the screen right here. It'll take you to our YouTube page. And if you are feeling more generous, please share your thoughts, your feedback as well. And join the conversation on YouTube and YouTube community. We really appreciate your support, and it means a lot to us, your subscription as well as your feedback. And this is the QR code to our IMDb page. American Business Podcast is listed on IMDb database. And when you scan the QR code, you'll see the details listing on the database, IMDb, and also you can rate us in terms of how we are doing. We truly appreciate your support, and we really appreciate that your support motivates us, and we keep bringing you more informative business content. Thank you very much for your support. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the coming American Business Podcast episodes. Thank you, and have a great week.